The lay of the land is right. The location is right. Where else in the city of Harborview can you find a choice lot at $500 in a restricted district within the 3-mile limit?
Oak Park lies well in toward the city's business district and is on one of the best car lines. It is not isolated, nor is it eclipsed in any way as an investment or home-building proposition.
Oak Park is Harborview's greatest home movement because each and every improvement, graded and paved streets, reservoir water, cement walks and curbs and shade trees are all going in right now. Not in sections as the lots are sold, but now. Take the Woodbury car to Bixby Street.
Oak Park, from the Shackelford Company.
Annex, the continuing story of a peculiar bend in the avenue. Traffic goes north, traffic goes south. The streetcar runs between, and all we can do is try to keep up. Nancy, darling, I do so appreciate you ringing and inviting me over for a visit so early this morning. I sleep poorly with Diana away on her honeymoon.
I'm the one who's appreciative. When I saw your light on across Delaney, I figured we could both stand the company, break of dawn or not. Father's still out of town, and I don't sleep with the house so empty besides the housekeeper and I. It's a different house without Father.
It will soon be a very different house altogether, won't it?
What if it is? I'm not worried about that. It makes what I have to do somewhat easier. Even so, it remains a bittersweet task.
Leaving for the university?
The next step. I've spent 4 years working for this. Longer. And it's everything that I want and that Father wants for me after all the trouble. But it means going away and leaving Father.
And Jake Chilton.
And Jake.
Why can't he go to school as well?
Jake thinks he isn't college material.
Is he?
When it comes to brains, Jake's the only boy I ever met who could keep up with me.
That's no small feat.
He could do anything he wants, be anything he wants to be. I've tried to convince him to complete the university's application materials, and his mother has even offered to pay. She did for Lois. But Jake refuses and says that it just isn't for him, and he won't waste Mrs. Chilton's hard-earned money.
Maybe it's not for him. Maybe you and Jake are headed in different directions.
That's what frightens me. I say it doesn't, but I can't get it out of my head.
So that's what's been at you of late. I thought it was due to your father's announcement. Either way, there's much change and separation ahead, isn't there? There's no easy way about it, love.
Jake's dream is to become the best police officer in Harborview, with a wife and children waiting for him every day when he comes home from work. I don't see where I'd fit into that, at least not right now.
Then go become Harborview's best crime reporter and come back and then chase the poor boy down. Dilemma resolved. See, how neat, Alas, there's no such resolution in sight for my Diana.
Because of Donovan?
Even worse, that mother of his.
Garnet?
Garnet. I won't curse her, you understand? But Nancy, she is simply not to be believed.
She's still in Harborview? I thought she was only here for a visit.
Diana and I had presumed she'd return home to Charleston just once the children were married and away on honeymoon. Now she claims to have fallen in love with Harborview and with Oregon. Ha! You know, I've caught her twice now lurking around Diana's place.
When are the newlyweds due back?
Another 2 weeks, and she'd best be cleared out when Diana comes home. Because my daughter will not tolerate the Duchess swanning around, and neither will I.
I'm sure she'll move on. Surely she wouldn't want to be in Donovan and Diana's way.
Oh, don't be so sure. In a city of lilacs, Garnet Shackelford is nothing but an invasive weed. Donovan wasn't bad enough trying to buy Henry's lilacs out from under me. Now I have to contend with his mother trying to cash me out. Oh, who knows what the future holds. Nancy Dawson, gather your strength.
My goodness. See that now, across the way? Moving steadily?
What, see what, Nancy?
A light. There's a light over there on Wayland Avenue where it meets Delaney, just behind Diana's, near the lilac fields.
Oh. What now?
Someone with a lantern. Look, see it now?
Oh, a prowler? Or an escaped lunatic?
And so close by the Chilton's house, too. Their windows remain dark still. They must all be asleep, or surely they'd notice. You stay here.
What you say?
If someone's lurking around the neighborhood with a lantern by early morning light, hadn't we best find out who it is?
Yes, I suppose we must. And I'm going there with you. And we'll take my umbrella.
For the rain?
For a bludgeon, in case we stumble across unsavory types.
Now, we must creep so as to catch this fiend in the act.
Huh? And then what do we do with this phantom that we are stalking? Moving from tree to tree like highwaymen ourselves.
What do we do? We'll hold him or her at bay and summon the authorities. Look, wait. There it is again. Near that retaining wall, down those steps leading from Diana's yard into the fields. See it now?
Lord, have mercy. There it goes. Giving light to the figure moving along. Hark! A cloaked figure in possession of a lantern loitering among Henry's lilacs. What apparition is this?
Mrs. Pembroke, that's no apparition. That's Mrs. Garnet Shackelford.
Oh, hush then. Let's stay out of sight. Here, let's go round the side of the house and out of her immediate sight.
We can still watch her at least. What on earth is she doing out here? And so early?
Nancy, I simply cannot see as well in the dark as you can. What is Garnet doing? Disguising a cloak and bearing a lantern and trespassing before the day has even begun.
Whatever she's doing, she's very intent on it. That's probably why she hasn't noticed us here, in the yard watching her. At present, she just seems to be admiring the expanse of the lilac fields. I had no idea she was so interested in horticulture.
She's not, I assure you.
Wait, she's doing something else.
You're sacrificing a chicken.
Even stranger. She's dancing in a circle and singing to herself. See how she stretches out her arms to the east, across the fields towards the mountain?
Oh, a sight to chill your blood, Nancy. Let's come away quickly back to your house. I don't like to be near her like this. What we just saw unsettles me, Nancy. You know, Garnet and Donovan both say that with Henry gone, the lilac operation is too much for me, and they are right enough. Business has never been the same since Henry died, and there have been losses and shortfalls, and my heart is not in it alone. God knows I'm paying people to run it these days.
But you're home, and Diana's. Where would you go from here?
Diana could keep her home. No, we deeded that land to her. But the fields themselves would become street after street of homes. If selling the land would make me rich, the development will make Donovan and Diana unimaginably wealthy. All it cost were Henry's dreams. I don't know what would become of our home, only that I couldn't bear to stay there and to look east.
You wouldn't actually consider selling to them, would you?
Sophie and Henry gone. Diana married to that man, with that mother. My foreboding.
I suppose there is a fortune to be made. But why would Donovan want to develop all the land around his and Diana's home? He hates all of her neighbors as it is.
Greed, my darling. You know, Garnet actually told me that by not selling to her, I'm holding our community back.
That's preposterous. How?
She insists that my determination to live in the past keeps this stretch of Delaney too rural, and that the sanctuary's limiting it from becoming the streetcar suburb that it ought to be.
Mrs. Pembroke, that woman isn't going back to the Carolinas anytime soon.
Clearly, she's joined the Push Club as a booster. Well, madam, she can direct it elsewhere, as I have no intention of selling to her or Donovan from sheer principle.
It wouldn't be the same without you. I haven't seen the lantern moving around again. Maybe Garnet has gone, vanished just ahead of morning light. Fitting.
You know what really makes my skin creep around that Garnet creature? Any time I'm close by her, I feel as if the Reverend Gaumont were nearby.
You feel his presence?
Oh, it makes no sense. I know, but there it is. In the same way I feel around Donovan, and I can't explain for the life of me. Perhaps I don't need to. Perhaps it just is.
Dear Horace, my faraway firstborn son, I'm writing you very early this morning, sitting here at my kitchen table with just a few minutes before I cross Delaney Avenue, still quiet this time of day, to open the market that I've told you so much about. Your sister and brother are still upstairs sleeping, so it's just you and me, Horace. Would I write 1,000 pages, this mother could not begin to express her admiration for the man that you make, for your refinement as a gentleman, and your dedication to your music and your pupils, benefiting them of your fine sensibility and boundless talent, which, as your mother, I know you did not inherit from me, although your father in his youth was one for such things. Perhaps I am most proud because I know, as many don't, that it has not come easy to you. You have risen from our origins to share with the world your capabilities, to make a name and move among the brightest in St. Louis. That is where you belong. Of course, I admit that Mother misses you so keenly, and I so dearly wish that you would come here to Oregon and spend time in our new home on Delaney Avenue. You will fall in love with the yard, especially in spring, as we're on 2 lots and have fruit trees, flowering shrubs, and so much more. The market is right across the street, and you can meet all of the neighbors. It would give me great pleasure to introduce you to them and for them to hear you play. Harborview is a wonderful city, and according to your sister Lois, it's got culture, whatever that means. You'd not be among strangers here. There's so much going on. Let's talk Lois, since I mentioned her. I've always relied on my girl. She practically raised Jake from a toddler when your father died, and I took over running the store and you went off to school. Well, I'm going to have to depend on Lois less. Your sister is getting married in 2 weeks. Oh, he's a wonderful man. Our neighbor across the street, Tom Dawson, a newspaper editor and a gentleman. Tom will be good to Lois, I think, although he is just a bit older than her, and I do have my worries that age difference between them might prove more troublesome down the line. I've not asked whether they plan to have children. One can hope. Your baby brother Jake just turned 18 and graduates from West Harbor High School this year. He happens to be dating Tom Dawson's daughter Nancy, a classmate of the same year. Let me say, I adore Nancy, and I adore Nancy with my son. Here of late, though, Jake seems lost. He still talks about the police academy, but so much now he seems to be elsewhere. He's distant, distracted, conflicted. Being a young man, though, he is unlikely to confide in me, and I do not ask. He needs an older brother to turn to, Horace. He and Lois both do. I remember with extraordinary fondness when my 3 children and I were all together, back in Pennsylvania, in hard times and otherwise. Oh, I want that family together again. Without my family, a successful store means little beyond dollars and cents. I'd like to invite you to come be with us in Harborview for your sister's wedding. Yes, I've given you precious short notice, but Lois will go out of her mind to have you here for her special day. Let's keep it between us, son. Let's make it our secret. All right, Horace. Your mother loves you. Time to go open the store.